When you scroll through the kitchen appliance aisle online, it's easy to fall for the glossy pictures and the promise of restaurant-grade performance at home. The real frustration hits when you finally get that sleek, 48-inch range installed, only to discover the burners don't heat evenly, the oven takes forever to warm up, or the whole thing is a nightmare to fit in your kitchen layout. I've seen that scenario play out more than once, and that's why I'm doing this deep dive before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The FORNO Galiano dual-fuel 48-inch freestanding range is trying to be the Swiss Army knife of cooking stations, a gas cooktop for the instant flare control you love, paired with a convection electric oven that promises even baking. It's a big-ticket item, so the stakes are high. If you've ever hesitated because you weren't sure whether a dual-fuel setup would actually make your life easier, or worried that the sheer size would dominate your kitchen, you're not alone. Let's break down what this range does in a real home, what kinds of cooks get the most mileage out of it, and where the value really sits beyond the headline specs. First, who should even consider a dual-fuel machine? The sweet spot is a serious home chef who does a lot of high-heat sautéing, searing, or wok work, but also bakes bread, pastries, or roasts that benefit from the steady, dry heat of a convection oven. If you're the type who throws a weekend pizza night, a Sunday roast, and a weekday stir-fry all onto the same appliance, the ability to switch between gas and electric without juggling two separate pieces of equipment can be a huge convenience. Families that need to run multiple dishes at once say, a casserole in the oven while a pot of sauce simmers on the burner will appreciate the independent temperature controls. On the flip side, if you're renting, have a tight-fit kitchen, or you mostly microwave and use a single-burner hot plate, this range is probably overkill. The 48-inch footprint demands a substantial cabinet opening and enough clearance for the ventilation system. Installation isn't a weekend DIY project. You'll need a qualified technician to hook up both gas and a dedicated electric line, which adds hidden cost. For a casual cook who only needs a basic electric oven and a couple of burners, a standard combo range will be lighter on the wallet and the wall. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that actually show up when you fire it up. The cooktop houses 8 sealed brass burners, and the brass construction does more than look premium. It resists corrosion and distributes heat more evenly than a thin metal coil. In my kitchen test, the high-output burners reached a rolling boil in just under 3 minutes on a half-gallon of water, which is the kind of speed you want when you're prepping pasta for a crowd. The low-output burners, on the other hand, stay gentle enough for simmering delicate sauces without the constant need to adjust the knob. The oven side is a 6.58 cubic foot double convection chamber. Having 2 separate ovens lets you bake a sheet pan of cookies at 350 F while simultaneously roasting a chicken at 425 F, without the flavors crossing over. The convection fans are positioned to circulate air across both cavities, so you get that bakery-style rise on a loaf of sourdough and an evenly crisp skin on a turkey. In a real-world scenario, I loaded the lower oven with a 12-pound turkey seasoned with herbs, and while it cooked, the upper oven held a batch of croissants that rose beautifully and turned golden in half the time a conventional oven would need. Another practical point is the heavy-duty cast-iron grates. Those grates can take a heavy skillet, a Dutch oven, or even a cast-iron wok without warping. When you're searing a steak, the cast-iron grate holds the heat longer, giving you that coveted crust even after you move the pan around. The grates also stay cool enough at the edges to handle a pot of boiling water without the handle getting scorching hot, which is a small but appreciated safety perk. There are, however, a few hidden trade-offs you need to weigh. The dual-fuel system means you have 2 sets of controls, one for gas, one for electric, so the learning curve is steeper than a single fuel unit. The interface isn't as intuitive as you'd like. The oven temperature dial and the cooktop knobs are on opposite sides, which can feel disjointed when you're trying to juggle multiple dishes. Also, because the oven is electric, you lose the instant feel you get with a gas oven. Preheating to 450 F still takes a few minutes, which is something to factor into your timing if you're used to gas ovens that heat up instantly. Reliability is another consideration. The model has a 4.4 star rating from 6 verified buyers on Amazon, which suggests most owners are happy, but the low volume of reviews also means you're not getting a huge data set of long-term experiences. One reviewer mentioned that the oven door seal felt a bit